about NFTs? Not much, almost 60% people. Do you know one NFT was sold for $69 million last year in 2021? It makes me wonder why people would spend so much of money for one single NFT. Well, to resolve that mystery, I would now like to invite on stage our next speaker who has never been afraid of taking challenges. From being the first employee of Facebook in India to being a managing partner at SoftBank to, to ringing a bell, to ringing an opening bell at New York Stock Exchange for her SPAC Etna IPO. And you know who rang the bell on New York Stock Exchange yesterday, like the closing bell? No other than Kirthiga Reddy. So please join me in welcoming Kirthiga Reddy on stage.
Right, no, thank you. Thank you for that very, very kind introduction. I actually did not see the show of hands. How many people have bought NFTs? Okay, what was the question? Did she ask how many know of? What was the no of NFTs? All right, well, all right. So I will do a quick poll to, again, get to that question, but truly, it's just such a delight to be here. I strongly believe that we are in the midst of so many technology transformations and all happening at the same time at just an unprecedented scale, something that we have never seen before. Many of those topics you have covered today, whether it's AI, whether it's sustainability, quantum computing, Web3, 5G, everything is all happening at the same time. I had the privilege when I was an investing partner with SoftBank Vision Fund to see many of these trends firsthand, first row seat. I led SoftBank's first quantum computing investment, and the last investment that I led there, I deployed about $1 billion for them, 2 new unicorns, 3 companies publicly traded, but my last investment there was, not surprising given the topic of my conversation today, was an investment in a metaverse NFT crypto play. And it was then that all the builder urge in me came to the forefront. I was getting flashbacks of being employee number 1 for Facebook in India. We had less than 8 million people on the platform when we started operations in India. We had less than 100 million people on the internet in India, right? And fast forward to today, by which, by the way, we're not talking about a lifetime, we're talking about 10 years. We have about more than 600 million people. So that's what I vision for where we are now with Web3 and NFTs and what we're going to be talking about a decade from now. And I could not be more excited to share what drives my excitement. And so I will go back to that quick poll that Lochin did. Okay, so let's see. Actually, how many of you have bought NFTs? Okay, all right, I see about 10. How many of you tried to buy NFTs, but it was just so complex? Because trust me, it is complex, and I've given up many, many times. But how many of you tried and then got dissuaded? Okay, there's about another 10. Okay, how about cryptocurrency? Traded, bought cryptocurrency? All right, okay, you're already taking the first step there. Very, very cool. Okay, how many of you think NFT is a fad? It's all of those people who made so much money in cryptocurrency, to park their money. Okay, all right. Okay, excellent, excellent. Okay, I'm going to ask my one last question. How many of you think NFTs are not a fad and it's going to change every single industry as we know it? Okay, all right. So I promise I won't do the poll at the end. And for all of those who were not on the it's going to change every single industry, I do hope to spark some curiosity, some new questions that makes you want to go explore this brave new world further. So let me paint this picture of some what ifs. What if, and let's see, what if I told you that I envision that when my children get their degree certificate, I have a senior in high school now, when she walks up to get her degree certificate, when she does her graduate degree, she may get this piece of paper as she walks up the stage, which is the proverbial certificate, but her actual degree certificate will be an NFT that's validated on the blockchain. No longer will one have to go, today I have to go to my garage, find my degree, get it notarized, and send it over. That's not going to be what happens. What if I said NFTs were going to be the basis of how you spoke about sustainability earlier today, and NFTs are going to be the basis of how carbon credits are tracked and traded, how water credits or any of the other aspects of sustainability. It's going to have NFT as the basis. What if I said that if the next time Shawn Mendes is touring in the Bay Area, instead of me going to Ticketmaster to buying tickets there, and by the way, Shawn Mendes just canceled his tour in September, and kudos to him for calling out that he's doing it for mental health reasons. Just huge kudos, and I look forward to welcoming him back the next time. But let's say that when he comes back next, I don't need to go to Ticketmaster to buy a ticket. I buy it directly from his team, his organization, and Shawn Mendes and his team actually can track where did that ticket go, who was it sold to, who was it resold to, instead of every different place that the tickets go to now. And they can also say that, hey, anytime someone does a resale, if you bought it for $100, you sell it for $300, the artist gets a percentage back of the royalty, and that is built into the system, and there's no intermediary in between. Right? Now, all of these scenarios are very possible. All of these scenarios and more are very possible because of two important properties of NFTs. So a lot of people think of NFTs as art, but there are two important properties of the NFT, if I know how to click this right. One of which Pawan spoke about earlier today, where he spoke when he laid this framework of the 6 key trends in the overall world of Web3 crypto, where he spoke about authenticity, provenance, ownership, and that is very, very much an integral part of NFTs. Because for the first time, you have the ability to have an authenticated digital asset. If I think about in the real world Mona Lisa, right, there is a real Mona Lisa, and there are many, many copies of the Mona Lisa. And sometimes even experts can't tell the difference, right? In the digital world, if you parlay that, and let's stick with the Shawn Mendes theme for now. As you can tell, in my home with teenage girls, I have Shawn Mendes, Ed Sheeran, One Direction. That's what's playing in my house. But let's say there are like tens of millions of his videos being downloaded, but if Shawn Mendes then takes that video and makes an NFT out of it, which is basically about registering metadata that is added to a blockchain, and then he sells that to you, he says, these are 1,000 NFTs that I'm going to sell to my fans, and I buy one of them, I can validate on the blockchain that this is authentic, that this was directly something that I bought from the artist versus all of the tens of millions of copies that are out there. Okay. I want you to start thinking about all the industries that you work with, and think about what that property can do if you have an immutable digital record that you can uniquely determine the authenticity just validated on the blockchain. So that's property one. Property two is these NFTs are actually mini computers. It is like it's a Turing complete computer, which means you can program them and put in whatever business logic that you want. The example that I mentioned of that resale ticket is just one simple example of what you can build into that NFT, and forevermore you get that resale value. There's no intermediary, it's that lifetime stream. Now I also want to call out that before we get too far ahead and thinking about, oh my God, what are all of the different aspects of business logic I put into that NFT, there are limitations today about the complexity, the speed, the cost, but there are some incredible entrepreneurs who are working to solve all of that basic infrastructure. And if you think about these two properties and then again extrapolate it to how that is going to change every industry as we know it, I hope you have some ideas going. We painted the picture of these industries changing. I also want us to bring us back to today and talk about where we are now and what is driving majority of the NFT sales today. It is billions of dollars, okay? Last month was over 600 million, so right now, again, it's like over an 8 million run rate that we are on. 8 billion. And by the way, it is much lower than we started in the beginning. And so for all of those who raised your hand and said, you know, it is a fad, and it's all of those people who had a lot of money in crypto and are parking it into NFTs earlier this year, it was true. At this minute, we have so much more signal to noise in terms of what NFTs are really being used for, and it's an exceptional basis for us to build on. So what are they being used for? Three different mainstreams that consumers are working with NFTs and buying and trading and selling NFTs. One is in this pure art realm, okay? Two is in gaming. It's the largest, and you know, I would say it's almost the seed of what got us here from the whole NFT revolution. And three is what is going to be led by influencers, creators, and brands. So how many of you recognize this? Yeah? This is the Beeple. This is the 69 billion NFT that Lochan spoke about. It's by an artist, Mark Milkenvan, and it represents like 5,000 unique digital pieces, 69 billion. It was like the highest digital auction ever. So that's on one end, okay? What we're looking at right now is a lot of people who, I mean, the average price of an NFT right now is $115. And what are they spending for? So there is the art. There are people who are working on the Mona Lisa in the digital art world. And there is you know, there's a whole market model and economics around that. We have a number of companies, you know, and I just gave you two examples of a number of companies in the space trying to help that art piece of the NFT revolution. We have a company called Proof. It's Kevin Rose's company, and he has, it's a member-only group that is dedicated to finding the next big digital artist. Just like in the whole physical asset world, there are people who are focused on finding the next big artist in the physical world. It is a member-only group. It's like 1,000 NFT collectors and artists. And by the way, when I checked last on OpenSea, it was selling for, the membership was selling for about 64 ETH. And what they do is they bring together artists and help with discovery to find the next, next big artist that one should invest in the digital world. So that's example one. Another example of, again, a company that is looking at this whole world of art is a company called The Hug, founded by Randy Zuckerberg, one of the first 10 employees at Facebook and an investor, entrepreneur. And she is focused on bringing more diversity to Web3. It is so important that we focus on diversity from the very beginning, because if you don't focus on it now, again, you're going to have yet another technology and finance phenomena that diverse female and other diverse categories are going to be left behind. So she's focused on that, and there's a lot of really great work that she's doing there. And by the way, that is one of the NFTs that I bought. It comes from Curious Addies, and I spent hours and hours trying to find, they had a collection of 5,000. I spent hours trying to find the right one that I felt represented me and my identity. So there are people who are doing this. And again, for me, it actually resonated because they had two kids on the top. She was holding a phone, a pina colada. She had this Discord, so it resonated with me, and I spent a lot of time finding the right NFT. So that's one stream. Okay, the second stream that is that there's a lot of work and a lot of money going into is gaming. In the pre-NFT world, selling digital virtual goods in games, how big is it? How big is the market? Digital goods on games, video games. Take a guess. 5 billion. A billion? Yeah? 200 billion. 200 billion. Yeah, 200 billion. So for all of you, again, who started with saying, like, why are people spending on these digital assets? Is anyone even going to buy this? Today's digital goods economy in the video game space is 200 billion, and these are primary sales. There's also a whole resale aspect to it, which is 50 billion. So it's overall 250 billion. Yeah? And when you take that into the world now of then having like authenticated digital assets, it takes that and brings very, very different dynamics. And if you boil that down, all of this stems from consumer behavior, right? And a consumer in their physical world is very conscious of how they look, how they feel, expressing themselves in terms of the creators and the brands that they like. And so as more and more people spend time in the digital world, it is only natural that they want to represent themselves in different ways based on who they like, what they resonate with, and they will pay for that in the digital world, just like they do in the physical world. And there's another very interesting phenomena as you look closer into the NFT trading. We spoke about the video games. I said 200 billion is primary and 50 billion is secondary. In the NFT side, given that it's so freely tradable, in the video game side, if you are in one world, you cannot actually take something that you spend and take it to another world. If you're in Roblox, you buy something there, it stays there. You're not able to take it and then go into another virtual world with it. So there are lots of boundaries, whereas in the world of NFT, every major company has said this is going to be interoperable. Something that you buy in one place can be used in another place. And so the dynamics that we're seeing right now is that it's almost like a 1 to 50. If you spend $1 now for a particular good, it's actually going to be traded like 50x more. And so the secondary sales becomes a very, very important and a different dimensions of NFT that one should keep track of. So that's gaming. The last one that I'll touch upon now is the creator world. They used to go by influencers before. These days, the right term is creators. But think about influencers, creators, and brand more broadly. There are 150 million creators across the globe, 3 billion plus fans. And when I say creator, let's take a particular archetype. How many of you might have known Nas Daily, who does travel videos? I see some hands, okay? So he has 50 million fans across the globe. And by the way, he was here for NFT NYC a month ago. I walked with him to Saravana Bhavan. In that 20 minutes, he's a fan now, we have pictures there. In that 20 minutes, it was surreal to me to see how many people across nationalities, across age groups, from a 9-year-old girl to someone who I knew from the VC industry from Arizona, to like a 60-year-old man who came up and said, "Oh my God, are you Nas? Can I take a picture? Can I take an autograph with you?" So the connect that people have with these influencers is quite surreal. My daughter did not want to come for an Amitabh Bachchan book signing event, but when someone like this, Odd Ones Out, I mean, do you even know who Odd Ones Out is? She wanted to make sure that I go there in VidCon and get some collectible from that. So it's a whole different world that I would want us to just start realizing about the number of creators and the surreal nature of the connect that these fans have. So what happens when you have this whole creator phenomena, and now we have this new world where they can have authenticated digital assets that also are programmable and you can build business logic into it. So this is, by the way, the breakup of the creator economy in terms of the creators and the number of fans. And as you'll see, even in the 10,000 plus, we're talking about 50 million or plus creators that are in that mid-size to large-size creator group. So these are some examples of real examples today of how these creators and influencers and broadly speaking brands are using NFTs. So Nas, I gave you the example earlier of Kevin Rose and his proof, his collectibles, 1,000 people who are part of this membership, and he is using an NFT to get access to this membership to then help you find other NFTs, okay? And almost every brand and every creator and influencer is thinking about these kind of VIP clubs, and they're using NFTs as a gateway into their VIP clubs and giving them some differentiated access, whether it's Nickelodeon, who did their 10,000 unit collection drop a few weeks ago. Bill Murray did a drop of 1,000 NFTs. He released 82 of them, sold out within minutes for 1.5 ETH. And it, again, gives those people who bought it a differentiated access. So what is Nas using it for? He wants to use it for his VIP membership access. He wants to use it for trading cards. I was in Target 2 weeks ago. There is a whole wall of trading cards, and people who buy, sell baseball cards and the like. For someone like Nas, for him to get his trading cards in the Targets all across the globe is very difficult. But for him to be able to come and do 1,000 NFT collection drop of trading cards, and for his fans in Tanzania and the US and the UK to be able to buy it, it completely changes the dynamic of who he can reach and how effectively he can reach them with authenticated digital assets. And what Nas started thinking about as he started thinking about how is it that I can leverage this economy, he started thinking about, he said, Kirthiga, if this is really simple to do, when I'm having a coffee shop, going to a coffee shop in Rome, I can actually just do an NFT drop and say, hey fans, come see me for this coffee shop in Rome. So we're completely changing the dynamic for the creator, where today they think about going into the coffee shop and say, is this a monetizable moment? Is this a content moment? And today what they can do is think about, is this a monetizable moment? And what people are monetizing is up to their imagination. I'll give you one final example, and I know I'm getting the sign, which is Australian Open. They sold NFTs for every seat in the stadium. And if a ball falls on the particular seat during the gameplay, the fan who owns that NFT, they own that video clip, okay? So what people are going to monetize using NFTs is truly up to their imagination. And on the other hand, there are fans who feel that sense of connect and belonging who want to buy. And so all of us are going to be using NFTs because of that value that NFT provides, even without knowing that there is an NFT. So hopefully, again, we have sparked some questions. I will highlight that it's early, complex, expensive, as we spoke about. There's a whole new terminology around wallets, discovery, fakes. There are two NFTs here that look very similar. I actually am the owner of both of them because I was first duped into buying something, and then I said, oh my God, this is not the real one. So there's a lot of that you have to discover. But what I will end with is just, as we look at any technology transformation, I think just approaching it with humility and curiosity is so important. And right here are some predictions by some very famous people, where Andy Grove, someone whom I admire a lot, said that the idea of a personal communicator in every pocket is a pipe dream given by greed. I'm going to take, and this was just like, again, a decade or so ago, and I can take a poll as to how many people don't have a cell phone with them. But so let's approach this industry with humility. Think about all the places that those properties of NFTs can transform healthcare, financial services industry, real estate. And I will close with my favorite quote, also from Andy Grove, where he said, market share is won and lost at times of disruption. This is a massive technology disruption. When I started at Facebook in India, we had like 2G networks, we had feature phones, we did not have smartphones. There was a whole ecosystem that needed to be built, but through it all, I saw that transformation and I saw that impact on businesses, economies, and society. So I'm excited for this revolution, and I'm so excited for all of those who are going to build for this and all of those who are going to use this technology. Thank you.